Alright, this is Andrew with Jodo Home Inspection. We're doing a sewer scope today here in Salt Lake. Today is June 2nd, 2025. And we're at 3424 South, 300 East. We had the camera pushed out only 40 feet, and we're not yet to the city connection. I've been running water, trying to get my camera past this turn. And right now, I was just letting some water run, trying to figure out what direction the water is going. I think when you're looking at the screen, it's going towards the right, as far as I can tell. As I push my camera through, my camera kind of wants to go to the left, but even then, I'm able to get it past, another few inches when I really work at it, but I can't get it to go past the turn. But in either case, I think it should be going to the right. Sometimes on older lines like this one, it doesn't make a very good sweep or a Y, and it has more of a 90, which is what we're seeing here. And so, when water's running, it'll eventually find its way, but when you're trying to push a camera down the line, it makes it real difficult to push through these turns. And so that's going to leave a big section of pipe that we're not able to see. It would be good, in this instance, to have a clean out outside where you could access the line past this point. That way, if you have an issue and you need to have the line cleaned, or just like in this instance, evaluated further, it would be good to have that access to be able to do so. But first thing I'll talk about is that you have cast iron. This is cast iron that you're seeing on the screen now. Cast iron gets real rough and rusty, and it will eventually need to be replaced. You can see already some toilet paper stuck in the line. When you have cast, you want to definitely avoid putting wet wipes or anything down the line that you don't need to. The other kind of question that I have here is, since we're feeding into a line where it looks like something's coming from a different direction, that could be another part of your house. It could be that you have a shared line with a neighbor. That's not incredibly common, but it's much more common in the early 1900s, and this does look like an original line. I would recommend maybe getting the map from the city, and that way you can see if the map shows that you have a shared line. But pay attention to this cast iron as I pull it back. Fairly rough and rusty. I would recommend the insurance on the line, and that would help offset the cost if and when there's a bigger issue. Tough thing here is that you don't have a lot of access in the crawl space, and so when it's time to replace what's under the house, that can be really difficult to do so. There are some roots, certainly big enough that I'd recommend having those cleaned out now. Otherwise, waste can continue to get stuck and create a blockage. You can have cast iron hydrojetted, which is a great way to clean roots out, but I generally recommend having cast iron coated, and that's where they use a chain. It has little carbide tips on the chain, and that cuts off all that rust and makes it a lot smoother. We are transitioning to ABS, and so there's a good chance they've already done what's under the house. I would ask the seller where the ABS ends, and that would give us a little insight about the direction that the line goes. And if they come back and say the ABS ends right at the foundation wall, then you almost certainly have a shared line, because that was a ways past. I think that was 20 feet past the ABS, the plastic. And if the ABS is all that's under the house, that means that whatever's tying in is outside the house, which is almost certainly a neighboring line. You cannot get insurance on shared lines. You can't get home serve, which is a more common one. You might still be able to get insurance through your homeowners, but the one I'm most familiar with, they don't offer protection on shared lines. And so that's one downside. The other downside is that if you can't control what your neighbor's putting down the line, and so if they're putting things down that clog the line, you don't have any control over that. If you have a blockage further down and you're not home, and the neighbor's running water, it can back it up into your house. So that's why it's important to find out whether it is a shared line so that you can be aware of that. I accessed the line through a clean out in the bathroom. Pretty accessible, right next to the toilet on the main floor. I have a couple cameras. My first camera head wouldn't make it past the first turn. My second one was just fine. But depending on who's working on the line, that's not a great sign when when you have to try multiple tools to get the camera through. So I'm going to end this recording now.